The Lithium Triangle was supposed to be the new Saudi Arabia, a white desert holding the metal that would charge every electric car on Earth. The narrative sold to the global public was simple: South America sits on a treasure chest, and the Green Revolution will make it rich. That narrative is not just wrong, it is a structural trap operating beautifully. The lithium surplus, now flooding the market, isn't a market glitch. It's a perfectly engineered machine designed to transfer the value of those salt flats directly into the battery factories of China, while leaving the Andes with a poisoned aquifer and a balance sheet that is already cracking. The foundation of this trap was laid during the price mania, when lithium spiked past $80,000 a ton. The countries of the Lithium Triangle did exactly what the system incentivized them to do. They opened their veins. Argentina gutted export taxes and handed out concessions like candy. Chile drafted budgets that assumed the price would never fall. Bolivia, the dragon sitting on the world's largest reserve, borrowed billions to build state-owned plants it had no technical capacity to run. Every province, every politician, every local community hooked their future income to the assumption that the battery revolution would be starved for raw material forever. That assumption became the bedrock of sovereign debt, of social programs, of entire regional economies. And the moment that assumption shattered, the floor effectively disappeared. The hidden middleman in this collapse is not a single corporation. It is an industrial complex that operates like a parasite on the supply chain. The Chinese state-backed battery machine doesn't need to make money on lithium itself. It needs to make money on the cathode, on the cell, on the electric car that rolls off the line in Shanghai. So when prices screamed upward, they didn't just wait for the market to correct, they cannibalized it. They unlocked lepidolite clay in Jiangxi, a dirty source that would be uneconomic at any sane price. They opened the spigot in African hard rock, shipping spodumene concentrate through a logistical artery they control. And they perfected the alchemy of black mass, turning dead batteries into a relentless second supply. The lithium from the triangle didn't disappear. It was simply outflanked by a machine that treats the metal not as a treasure, but as a raw material to be sourced from anywhere, crushed and processed at a scale that makes the Atacama look like a boutique operation. Now, the raw mechanics are playing out with the inevitability of a physics equation. Brine evaporation ponds cannot be turned off. Once you pump the saline water from deep aquifers into those vast, mirror-like pools, the sun does the work. The lithium concentrates whether the spot price is $80,000 or $8,000. The supply keeps coming, piling up in warehouses in Rotterdam and Shanghai, a white powder no one wants to buy. The price is now kissing levels below the cost of production for half the mines in Argentina. But the debt those mines issued, the bonds backed by future royalties, do not evaporate. They remain, a sledgehammer hanging over provincial budgets. The countries are trapped in a reverse alchemy. They are pumping liquid money out of the ground only to watch it turn into worthless salt on the global market. And beneath that financial bleeding, the hydrological wound deepens. Pumping brine collapses the freshwater lens, kills the microbial life, drives away the flamingos, and leaves an aquifer permanently scarred. When the junior miner goes bankrupt and disappears, the liability doesn't vanish. It just mutates into an abandoned, toxic basin with no owner to pay for remediation. The macroeconomic reality is this: the system is not broken, it is operating exactly as it was designed. The green transition requires cheap batteries. Cheap batteries require cheap lithium. Cheap lithium requires a supply glut so crushing that the resource owners at the extraction point are stripped of all pricing power. The Lithium Triangle was never meant to be the beneficiary of this boom. It was meant to be the fuel, and fuel gets burned. The surplus is not an accident of overproduction, it is the explicit goal of a monopsony that centralizes the profit and processing and manufacturing while forcing the geological sacrifice zones to absorb the environmental and financial ruin. The lithium will still flow out of the White Desert, feeding the Teslas and BYDs of the global north. But the towns built on the promise of a lithium dividend will empty out. The bonds will default. The politicians will search for a villain, nationalize the rusting pumps, and blame imperialism for a wound they were incentivized to inflict on themselves. The lithium surplus isn't destroying South America in a single explosion. It is quietly, mechanically, hollowing out the backbone of its high-altitude economies, leaving behind nothing but salt, debt, and the bitter realization that the lottery ticket was a liability from the very first pump.